wasn't really surprised because, like, my whole family has anxiety. Like, it's just, like, we're just one big anxiety family. But, so, I got diagnosed when I was 16, and I was just getting super stressed out about, like, everything. And so my mom was like, okay, you should probably go to the doctor, and they told me I had it, and that was kind of that.
I was diagnosed with depression when I was in 8th grade, but I guess in a sense I was a little relieved to know that it wasn't just me and it was something that was going on with me.
I was diagnosed when I was a sophomore in high school. Clinical depression and like anxiety and it took me a while when I was first diagnosed to like realize that what I was feeling was like accurate and like that it wasn't like wrong or anything. So the fear of like people finding out about it and then looking at me like I was some sort of victim or like that something was wrong with me was also something I was scared of.
I would like openly talk about it with my friends, and then they'd be like, what? Like, you have anxiety or you have depression? I was like, well, yeah, doesn't everybody?
I've been headed for.
So, since I have both anxiety and depression, they like battle each other, and my depression takes over and I like don't think about my anxiety, but then like once something is due or like pressure hits, then like my anxiety takes over.
For me, for a really long time, it was kind of like being in this deep hole that you couldn't get out of, and like I always like looked, this is sad, like it was like kind of like being in a dark hole and like watching everyone above you like being fine and then not understanding why you weren't wrong, like why something was wrong. Looking at people who are fine was really hard for me, like accepting that I was trying to like fix myself when other people didn't have to do that. I just looked at myself and I said, I hate you. And that was like the biggest thing to get over for me, was like learning to like actually love myself.
I was hardly eating, didn't really have a whole lot of friends because they couldn't handle me, and so that prevented me from going out and doing things that I enjoy.
It's so easy to just call either my parents and say like, I'm having a terrible day, and then they're like, did you take your medication? Have you taken a nap lately? Like, did you get out of bed today? And they like know exactly what's gonna help me get through things.
The biggest support system I would say in high school when it was really bad was one of my best friends who was also going through the whole thing with me. We were able to talk to each other about it.
Like, my family's been incredible and my friends are so supportive. Having friends that are going through the same thing is really, really important, because then you can look to each other for like strength. And
I have a really good friend who just goes to Winona State, so and she doesn't have anxiety or depression or any type of mental illness that she knows about, but she's like really good since she's known me for so long. Like, she can tell when I'm like not having a good day. I was super nervous about going to a counselor, and the first time I went was in high school. And I went to a really small school, so like I was afraid that like everyone was gonna know that I'm going to like therapy and that it was gonna be weird, I guess. But you just go and it's somebody to talk to and just like tell them, you can literally tell them whatever you want. People that have like diabetes or something like that, like they have to take insulin every day, and like nobody says anything about that. So like the fact that you have to take some chemical to like balance out your brain isn't something to be ashamed of.
but the second that you're like, yeah, I need to get help, otherwise I'm not going to be okay. Sometimes you can't help yourself, and that's something that's really important to understand as someone dealing with mental illness, is that you can seek help from other people, and people are wanting to help you. Seeking help isn't something to ever be ashamed of, and I know that's a big fear, but getting help is so admirable, and working through your mental illness is something that is so important, because you need help and people need help, and that's not something that anyone should ever be afraid of, is for asking for help.
As long as you have someone to talk to about it, I think is the most important thing. Because they really do affect someone's view of themselves as well as their potential to get help. I did experience it in high school. I lost pretty much all of my best friends because I was, they called me a Debbie Downer, which kind of hurt a lot, and then I was left without any friends to talk to about it. I just kind of opened that door so they know that someone is willing to listen if they want to talk about it. And I always try to reiterate that it's like a broken bone. You can't fix it yourself. You need to seek help.
Like, I know somebody who has bipolar, and then she gets like super frustrated or like angry with her job or like people at work or whatever, and then people are like, oh, I don't like that person, whatever, but then they don't understand that like bipolar like takes over you, and like you just, I mean, you have to understand that if they had a broken leg and they couldn't walk, you wouldn't be mad at them. So like you can't be mad at somebody for what they're going through in their mind, especially since you can't see it. You never know if you're gonna like date someone with anxiety, or like if your future children are gonna have it, and like you want to be prepared for that and not treat it as something like, oh my gosh, that's like so scary. It's just like if you have a broken leg or diabetes or anything like that, it's just the same type of thing.
A lot of people assume that people with mental illness are like these weak little flowers that like need to be like carried by the rest of the world, and like I'm a pretty damn strong person. Like I'm the first to admit, like, I have off days, but I'm pretty strong. That makes me not want to seek help. It makes me not want to tell people what's going on, and it makes me uncomfortable to tell anyone about my situation. And I think it's really important to talk about. Like, I want others to feel comfortable talking about it, because talking about it does help end the stigma around it. Whether or not people think that or not, that's completely their opinion. But for me, talking about it and making people aware of it has been really helpful in like ending the stigma, I think.
This is my winter song to you. The storm